Hi there! We're going to explore how I use tools like Notion and Monday.com to streamline my workflow. Hey guys, what's going on? It is Des here, and for those of you that don't know me, my name is Des Mondis. I am a content creator based on the East Coast of Australia. I tend to focus on things like Nintendo-based content and MMO-based content. So if that's what you're into, you can check that stuff out on my other videos. But today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video focused around streaming success, which is a new mini-series that I'm doing. If you would like to see more of those things, check out our playlist below. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoy the content and subscribe if you want to see more content coming from me. So yeah, guys, as I said earlier, we're going to be looking at two programs that I use, Notion and Monday, which is what I use to maintain productivity, not only in my content creation space, but in my life in general, and Monday.com as well. So there's a couple of things I want to touch base on just briefly now. So what the advice that I'm going to give and the things that I'm going to show you now, this is what best works for me. This is what I've found works well for me, and I think it's worth noting that what might work well for me, what might not necessarily work well for yourself or for others. There's a whole pile of different ways that you can go around maintaining and being consistent with your social media and being productive in your content creation space. But these are the ones that just work for me. Another thing I want to point out as well is I have bipolar and I also have ADHD. So I find it really hard to stay motivated and I'm on task with a lot of things. So these sorts of things help me with that as well. So we'll dive into them in just a second, but I do want to talk about just briefly a couple of differences between Notion and Monday. So what you need to know is that Notion is a very versatile productivity tool. It is very well suited for what I'm using it for. It combines note-taking, product management, database organization, collaboration between other people, and it melds it all into this one platform to use. So you don't necessarily need to use, if you're following along and you're looking for a way to go about it, you don't necessarily need to use Notion and Monday.com or Notion and something else. You could very well, depending on how you set it up, you could use Notion just by itself and it'll do the job for you. Monday is more of a work operating system that's more of a collaborative platform, and it's about managing projects and tasks and workflows. So it's a little bit different in Notion. Now, both platforms are very customizable. You can use different templates for both of them, and we'll touch on that a little bit as well. But Monday, is more about managing the tasks and the workflow and sort of doing those sorts of things. So those are some of the different things you need to know about them. So what I'll do is I'll dive into it now. We'll go through it. Bear with me. This mini-series that we're doing, it is sort of my knowledge, and I'm hoping to bring in other creators' knowledge into these as well in the future. So we're going to be touching on a couple of different things in the future. But today, I just really wanted to show you how I use Notion and how I use Monday to streamline my workflow and my content creation process and how I keep on top of things. So another thing to keep in mind is, so I work full time. So I work 5 days a week. I also have a side hustle where I film live combat sports on weekends. So on occasion, I work on weekends as well. I am a full-time single parent as well. So I've got my daughter with full custody, and I manage that as well. And then I stream on a minimum of 3 to 5 days a week. So there's a lot of different things that I juggle at the moment, and this sort of stuff is what really helps me stay on top of those things. So keep that in mind as well. You don't have to be, you have hours of time to be able to do this. This sort of stuff is really a way for you whatever your circumstances are, it can fit in with that quite easily. The good thing to know as well is, I know for a fact that Notion is free. There is a free version of Monday as well, so you don't need to be out of pocket in getting these sorts of things up and running. There are a couple of things that I've done that I've paid for to sort of make it a bit more tailored to me, but you don't necessarily need to have paid for anything to sort of take advantage of these things. Okay, so yeah, let's get on into it. Let's first have a look at Notion. So here we are. Now you're gonna have to bear with me just a little bit, but basically this is the general workspace that I've got for my Notion, and it's my productivity planner. Now, what I will state first and foremost is what I've done is I've found a template online. I found it ages ago, and I used it. I built my planner, and I customized it according to those sorts of things and tweaked it to my use. So I did pay for that, and I can put a link in this description as well, so you guys can check it out as well. And it just sort of gave me a head start in how to build everything. But this is what Motion looks like here, right? So we've got now you've got most of the way that you will work with Notion is on the left hand side, and then the following space is sort of the different areas that you can create pages for. So what you would normally do is you can create a page here, sort of what I've done here, and I'll give you a bit of a tour of this. So this is my productivity planner. Now I've got these little widgets. What I will do is I will put a link in the description of where you can build your own widgets, if that's something that you want to include in your productivity planner. But this planner here, this planner here is sort of how I look at my day-to-day and how I manage the tasks that I have for the day or for the week. So this is how I sort of follow it. So if I scroll down here on my planner, I've got a little bit of a snapshot of what the day and what the week is looking like, which is really cool. I find that it really helps me. And then further down, I've got this section here, which I've got my directory on the left-hand side, which you don't necessarily need to use. You can use the left-hand menu as well to get to your different areas. There's two different ways you can do it. I've got a calendar here. I don't use my calendar as much as I probably should, but you've got an option there to have a calendar, and then look, if I open up the calendar there, I can then key in certain things on certain days that I need to. So say for example, you're looking at so as a content creator, you're looking at your social media presence, and you're looking at scheduling or organizing days for when you want to post certain things for content. You could use this calendar as a way to sort of manage that as well. So that's something that's really worthwhile looking into. So again, this is part of a template that you can create. You can create a Notion calendar basically, and then you can follow, track, and book all your things in that way. Let's go back to my productivity planner here. Now what I've got here is I've got a little bit of a to-do list, and this I use the to-do list for goals that I have for the week, or like short-term goals that I have for the week or for the month that I follow. So this is what I've got on the agenda at the moment. You see I've got a couple things on here. I did have a lot more, but I went through I cleaned up my to-do list earlier this week, so I don't have a lot sitting there, which is really nice. I'm really happy with that. And then on the right-hand side, I've got a little tab here with a couple of different things. So I've got what my priorities are for at the moment, what I've got, and you can see that there's some here that are content creator based, and then there's personal ones like drinking water. I've got some goals here that I've got to work on long term, so you guys might have goals for your content creation as well. So that's something that you might, if you want to be able to have a snapshot and look at those things, or a gentle reminder of what you're working towards, this is a really nice way to do it as well. And then I've got some reminders, which is more so day-to-day or week-to-week things as well. So that's what I've got there. If I scroll down a little bit further, I've got a couple of other goodies that are from Widgets as well. I've got this little add-on here, which is like a little break thing. It gives me a timer of what I use this for. Is if I'm working on something, and I'll usually sit it down to 15 minutes. When I'm using this and Monday.com, what I would usually do is what I tend to do to stay on top of everything is I dedicate 15 minutes of my day to manage my productivity planner, my journal, and Monday.com. I use 15 minutes a day, and that usually helps me keep track of things, schedule things when I need to, source content when I need to, all that sort of stuff, book in scheduling for recordings and all that sort of stuff. So I use that timer there to sort of help me track it a little bit easier, so that way I'm not spending hours and hours on it. If I spend just a little bit on it each day, not only do I keep in mind what my goals are and what I'm working towards, but I'm limiting it so it doesn't get too out of control. I've also got a link to a playlist here that I like to open up and use when I'm using it as well. So I've got a nice quick link there. Now, this is something that I use a lot. So this is a habit tracker, and again, this is a widget that you can pull out and you can track your habit tracker, which is really nice. You can, in this particular template, this came from the template that I bought, so I could create daily habits. And I've been using this, you can see I've been using this since May 2023. And so basically every day I have a to-do list of all the things that I want to get done during the day. You can see I've got a couple of different personal things on here. There's not a lot of content creation stuff here in it. I've yet to add that in, but basically this is how I keep myself accountable for getting things done each day, right? And it's I think what it is there's a really nice serotonin boost to ticking things off on a list, like going through, okay, I've done that, tick it off, great, it's done. So you could very much use this in your content creation space to go, okay, I need to, say you're creating a YouTube video, right? You could go, okay, I need to create a script. I need to record the content. I need to record gameplay. I need to edit. I need to render the file. I need to upload it to YouTube. I need to create a post for that video, all that sort of stuff. You could use this habit tracker to do all that sort of stuff and tick things off as you go. So that's another good way to do it. And I can see here, like a lot of it's up and down, but I can see at the very start I was getting some sort of lows and getting only like a couple of things done on my list. And now coming into this year, I'm sitting up and I'm staying consistently on top of nearly everything I have on my list each day. So it's a good way to see how I'm tracking, to see how much I'm getting done during my days. So I use that and it works really, really, really well for me. As you can see here, you got the habit tracker as well, which is, I can see the week of all the things that I've done and on what days that I haven't done certain things. So that's that there as well. All right, now another thing that I use, now there's a couple of different things and a couple of things that I've got in my directory here that you don't necessarily need to do, but what I've done is I've got a reading list, so I like to read a lot, so I keep track of what I'm reading at the moment, and then I can rate it and figure out where you got it from and all that sort of stuff, so I have all that information there. So that way, when I complete a book, I can list it there and it's done. I've got something similar for games that I've been playing at the moment. I've got a gaming list there. I know what I'm working on at the moment. That's a really good thing to use if you're a streamer as well. And if you're going, okay, what do I want to stream for the next couple of months? I've got a section on my stream, and if I'm a variety streamer, what game do I want to play? I use this sort of list here to sort of gauge what I want to play. If it's something aligns on this list, absolutely awesome. I can keep track of it here and then I can tick it off when it's done so I know I've completed it, and it's awesome. I love it. The other thing that I have here is a journal. Now, this is something that I would very much encourage you guys to do. This is something that this really helps cement in what I've got on for the day and what I've got to achieve in that day. So I've actually got two here. I've got a daily journal and a work journal. So I use my daily journal to I use that in the morning. Usually at about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll sit down, I'll write my journal entry, and I'll talk briefly about what happened the day before, but then I'll talk about what I've got planned on today and what I want to get done today. So you'll see that I've actually, on the day of this recording, I've actually done a list. I've done one already. And so I'm working towards getting all my stuff done for the day. You can also filter this, so you can just see like, or you can categorize all your journal entries. So I've got personal entries, I've got work entries, and I use work entries just to keep on top of things at work as well. I've got gaming entry notes if I have certain particular things that I want that are gaming. There's a couple of things that are playing up as here as well. And then I've got some streaming notes here, which I use a lot. There's which ones are there in particular? Streaming schedule research. So any sort of notes or anything that I've done for any sort of things, I use Notion for to create, and that's why I keep everything in one nice cozy space. So yeah, that's how I use Notion. It's very much a way to keep me accountable and tick things off and get certain things done. So it's really, really good at doing that. And you don't necessarily need to have Monday or another platform to do it. You could very well, with all the templates and stuff that are available, create something that really works for you. And I definitely recommend going online. Notion has its own set of tutorials that you can use to get yourself familiar with the space as well. So I definitely recommend Notion to content creators out there that are struggling to juggle work, family, friends, streaming, all that sort of stuff. This thing is a lifesaver for me, and I've been able to manage all of those sorts of things going on in my life and maintain a consistent schedule. And I think, and a lot of people could probably agree with me, when it comes to streaming, when it comes to Twitch, when it comes to TikTok, when it comes to social media, the biggest thing that helps you grow as a content creator is consistency. And so this thing right here really helps me keep consistent and maintain my 3 to 5 streams. Like this week I did 3 streams, but like the week before I did 4, and next week I'm probably going to do 5. And that's multi-streaming, not just to Twitch, but to TikTok as well. And that is also, in the middle of that, I've got a social media campaign that I'm running as well, and I've also got a YouTube campaign that I'm running as well. So all of this sort of stuff helps me keep track of it here. So now, all right. So we've talked about, let me go down here, let me go down and turn that one off, because we've got to get into this one as well. So the next one I've got, the next one I use, so how do I best describe it? So I use Notion as the what, right? I use Notion as the what I've got to do. Does that make sense? And then I use Monday, and you don't necessarily use Monday for it, but you can use Notion for it. But I use Monday because we've got pro plans at work and we use it at work, so I know the software, so I use it for my personal as well. But I use Monday.com as the how, if that makes sense, like or like implementing the what. So let's have a quick look at Monday now. So Monday, and now what you can see is, again, it's very similar to Notion, where you've got your directory on the left-hand side. You can't see all of it because of my chatbot window, but everything is very much on the left-hand side. You see I've got some work stuff there, but I've got my personal stuff here as well. And you can see I've got 2 things here. Now I've got a social media plan and a social media content planner. So now I do want to talk about this, because this is a very interesting thing that I think is worth talking about. If you are a content creator and you're looking at growing and you want to start posting to social media, and I mean, and don't get me wrong, you don't have to do this. You can take what I say with a grain of salt. I mean, I'm not necessarily partnered streamer. I'm not a 10K follower sort of streamer. This is sort of what I've learned over the past couple of years, and this is what's helped me get to where I am at the moment, and it's been working really well for me, which is great. But when it comes to social media, I think you need to have a plan, and it doesn't have to be as complicated as what mine is right now. Like, don't get me wrong, I've probably gone overkill, but that's because I'm used to doing this sort of stuff for my work, working in a marketing role and as a graphic designer. So having a plan is really helpful, and that's what I've got here. I've got including and the key things to have in a social media plan is what your goals are, what you're wanting to achieve, what time you're wanting to, like, what people are you trying to reach, what sort of people are you trying to bring into your community, and then how will you measure that sort of success as well. So that sort of stuff is probably a different video entirely, and if you want to see information on that sort of stuff, let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear from you guys about any questions that you have. But this is where I've got my social media plan that I've created in monday.com from Notion. And then so what I've got here is all those sort of if, buts, and maybes, and those questions, and especially around what content I want to create as well. So that's it there. And then what I've got here is I've got a little Gantt chart, which is always good to see, of all the different social media posts that I've got running at the moment and what I've completed. And I can see just as a snapshot, where we sit and what we've got coming up as well in this Gantt chart view. You can change this view, you can customize it into any way you want, but what I've done is I've then gone and made a planner as a separate thing. And as you can see here, let me just double check, yep, you can see it. So what you can see here is you can see what I've got on plan for April, and then I've got what planned for May, and then I've got what planned for June. And as I said, 15 minutes a day. I go in here after I've created, it took me a while to create my plan. It took me a good weekend to sit down and work through my plan, right? And get this sort of stuff set up. But once I had it set up and I had it working for me, I then spend 15 minutes a day creating this sort of stuff. So I spent a little bit of time, it was at the start of April, I created this plan, right? And I sat down and immediately there I started planning what I have for that month, what I'm going to post, how consistent I'm going to post, and I created this plan. And then for 15 minutes a day, I then spent creating the content, or like creating what I'm going to actually write as the description for the post. I was going to, if I scroll across, I've got what image I'm going to be using. If there's an image, videos are obviously separate. And then I've got what status that sort of post is. So as you can see, we're towards the end of April. So everything here has been uploaded from that point, which is great. I've been maintaining consistency in my social media platforms. And then over here, I've got where that posted to. So I've got, yes, I posted it for Twitter. Yes, I posted for Instagram, or if I posted it just for TikTok. I haven't included YouTube videos, but I really should. But that's how I sort of maintain my social media content plan. And so what I've been doing is for every 15 minutes of the day, I've been looking ahead, because we're coming towards the end of the month and coming into a new one. I've started putting together a plan of what I want to post in May. And so I've done for my content, what I want to sort of do is I want to sort of push myself towards a more knowledgeable person in the gaming space that can provide news to people. And so what I've done here is, and on top of that is pop culture as well. So I've got posts in here. I've got May 4th for Star Wars Day. I've got releases for games. I've got anniversaries for games. And then I've got some slots there, some empty slots that I'm still currently working on, that I'll be getting together to post for that month. And so everything is here and ready to go. And then say I've created this post here, and I know what I'm going to post, and I know the image I'm going to post, and I know what category it is, and I've got all that information. Great. Then the next part is, okay, what status does it sit? And so if it's the planning stage and I've done everything, or if I've filmed everything and edited everything that I need to, then I can move it to scheduled, and I can start going through here and going, okay, what is this for? What platforms is this post for? What are we going to be targeting? And then I schedule where I can. So for Twitter, you can absolutely schedule your posts. For Threads, I don't know if you can or not. I'll need to confirm that. Instagram, you kind of can schedule Instagram with third parties. But what it ends up doing is it ends up providing you with the content that you've got, and then you upload it on the day. It just sends you a reminder on the day to post it, basically. So it's not really a scheduling tool. And then I've got TikTok. TikTok you can do on the desktop. You can schedule TikToks to go out. So I use that to schedule my content on the TikTok side of things. But basically I come in here each day and I see where things sit. And if I'm on a day, so say for example, let's turn that off. If I'm here on the May 4th and I come in, if it's the May 4th and I come in, I go 15 minutes, I go, okay, great. I've got this post going out today. I'll start getting it ready and I'll post it at the time that I think is going to be the best suited for me to post my content, which if you're in Australia, it's usually anywhere between 9 and 11 a.m. usually I think, and that could change. Things change in social media so quickly, it isn't funny. So definitely do your research out there. But this is how, when it comes to streaming, is obviously a different thing, and that's something I do through Notion. But when it comes to my broader social media plan and getting my content out onto TikTok and YouTube, I use this bad boy here to do it. And there's a lot of different ways you can do things. Like, I mean, look here, you got, you can set it up. You can see the view from a calendar perspective. If that's better suited for you. You can see it as a timeline as well. That's another way that's really helpful to see when you've got certain posts going. You got the Kanban as well, which is also nice. You can see all the different posts here, and it's another way. You can also mock it up, so you can go, all right, I want to see all the posts that I have to work on and schedule. You can do that as well. So it's a really nice way to view your data and view what content you have and getting it prepared to post on your channels. So yeah, that's about it really. That's how I use Notion and Monday.com to streamline my workflow in content creation. So there you have it. As I said, any links that I have mentioned in the video, I'll put in the description so you guys can check those things out as well. But I would love to hear from you guys. So if you like this content, let me know in the comments section below. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my content. I would love to hear from you guys, especially if you've got questions about certain things in content creation. I really believe in sharing, as a content creator, sharing that knowledge to help others, because it doesn't matter. I think this sort of content here, it doesn't matter if you're big or small, this stuff could have value to you. And I'm not for squirreling and hiding away that sort of stuff. I've been streaming on and off for five to 6 years now. So I've learnt a lot of things, what not to do and what to do and what works best for me. So I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing that content with others to help their journey and make their journey a little bit smoother. So yeah, if you have any questions, if you've got anything about content creation you would like to know more on, I would love to hear from you guys. But that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then guys, bye for now.